Okay, students, today in part one, we're going to learn how to add and subtract polynomials. An example of a polynomial would be an expression such as 2x squared plus 4x minus 5, I'm sorry. And yesterday we learned how to classify. This is a quadratic trinomial. Okay, to add polynomials, we want to just look at it as adding like terms. Here's a problem. A researcher studied the number of overnight stays in the U.S. National Park Service campgrounds and in the back country of the national park system over a 5-year period. The researcher modeled the results in thousands with the following polynomials. First polynomial represents the number of national park campgrounds. The second polynomial represents the number of backcountry park systems. So if we want to know the total, we need to add those two together. One method to do it is called the vertical method. If I were to recommend a method for you, I may recommend the vertical method, because when you do it, all you are doing is looking at the two polynomials and lining up the like terms. So let's remember what a like term is. In order for two terms to be like terms, it means they have exactly the same variable factors. So if one of the terms has x squared, the other term that you're going to add has to also have x squared. And then all we do is add the numbers in front of the variables, which are called the coefficients. And to simplify this, this would be 5x squared. Okay? So the exponents stay the same. That's just an x squared. We can't add an x squared to an x. They're not like terms. Okay, so all we did here was line up the like terms and added a negative 7.1 with a positive 21. And we got a positive 13.9 x squared, negative 180, and a negative 140. Remember, the sign goes with the term, and this whole thing is called a monomial term. So when we add those two negative numbers together, we get a negative 320x. And finally, we have two constants. When we add 5,800 plus 1,900, we get a total of 7,700. So the expression that represents the total of the two trinomials is 13.9x squared minus 320x plus 7,700. Another way to do it is to do the horizontal method. In the horizontal method, you would have both of the polynomials and then simply take them apart and rearrange them, keeping the sign with the term. So take the 21x squared and put it with the negative 7.1x squared. Take the negative 180 and place it next to the negative 140x, and place the two constants together, and then combine them. And you will end up with the same polynomial. Let's try it. Here's another word problem. A nutritionist studied the U.S. consumption of carrots and celery and of broccoli over a 6-year period. The nutritionist modeled the results in millions of pounds with the following polynomial. Carrots and celery is expressed by negative 12x to the third power plus 106x squared minus 241x plus 4,477. This is a cubic polynomial. Broccoli is modeled by 14x squared minus 14x plus 1,545. Okay, pause the video and set this up vertically. Okay, students, hopefully you have set it up in this way, vertically, putting the like terms aligned underneath each other. Notice that negative 12x to the third power does not have a like term in the other expression, so it is alone over here. Notice that I put the positive 106x squared and the positive 14x squared under each other. Put the negative 241x and the negative 14x underneath one another in the same column, and the two constants. So when you add these together, you should get negative 12x has nothing to add, so it just comes down negative 12x cubed, I mean. And when you add 106 and 14, you get a total of 120 x squared, since it's x squared. And when you add a negative 241 and a negative 14, when you add two negatives, remember it just gets more negative, becomes a negative 255x. Remember, we just added the coefficients, which coefficients are the numbers in front of the variables of like terms. Finally, add the constants, and that's a total of 6,022. And your final expression, which is a cubic polynomial that represents the sum of these two polynomials, is 12x cubed plus 120x squared minus 255x plus 6,022. Subtraction. Remember this. Recall that subtraction means to add the opposite. So if you are ever subtracting two numbers, for instance, 2 minus 5, you are really taking the first number and adding the opposite of the second number. So when we subtract, what we really want to do is we want to change each of the terms in the second polynomial to its opposite. It's as if we are distributing the negative sign to each of the terms in the second polynomial. And when we do that, we are adding the opposite. So 7x cubed becomes a negative 7x cubed. Positive 5x squared becomes a negative 5x squared. And a negative 12 becomes a positive 12. Okay, now pause the video and set those up in vertical fashion to now add them together. Hopefully, you have written down your first polynomial and you've started to line up your like terms, and I'll keep going with that. Underneath the 3x squared, I'm going to put a minus 5x squared, and underneath the 5x, there is no like term in the second expression that is a like term with 5x, so I'm going to leave that space empty, and on the end of this expression I'm going to put plus 12. Okay, so we have nothing above the plus 12 and nothing underneath the 5x. Why? Because they are not like terms. Okay, now that we changed subtraction to adding the opposite, we're going to actually add them together. We know that next to a variable that doesn't have a coefficient is a 1. So this is a positive 1 and a negative 7x cubed, and that becomes a negative 6x cubed. A negative 3 and a negative 5x squared become a negative 8x squared. We combine their coefficients. Positive 5x just gets written because it has nothing to combine with. Same with 12. So again, we have a polynomial with 4 terms, and it's called a cubic polynomial. Go ahead and try this one. Remember, you need to change this from subtraction to adding the opposite. Go ahead and do that and come back and check. Okay, let's set it up. Hopefully what you have done is line them up. Okay, and what we notice right away is that we have a negative 4m squared here. So there's going to be nothing in the top polynomial that's going to line up with it. So I'm going to leave a space there, and then I'm going to put minus m plus 9. And Let's finish off the second one. We also have another minus m plus 12. Now this one might be a case of where you might like to use the horizontal method. Now let's go through it once vertically. Okay, there's nothing to combine here, so we keep this. And same with negative 4m squared. And this would be, since these are both negative 1m, that's going to be a negative 2m. And when I add 9 and 12, I'm going to get a plus 21. Okay, what I'd like to do now is erase all this and show you how this actually might be better done if you changed it to adding the opposite and then did it horizontally. Well, I'm going to do it the quick way because I'm using Smartboard function. I'm going to copy this one and go get it for you. You set it up, see if you can do it first. Okay, let's go back. All right, so let's put the like terms together after we change this to its opposite. Minus m plus 12. Okay, so we'd have a negative 4m cubed and then a minus 4m squared. And then we would have minus m plus 9 plus 12. Okay, some of you may already be liking this better. Okay, are these like terms? No, we just rewrite them. 4m cubed and 4m squared are not like terms. Minus m, sure, that's a minus 2m. 9 plus 12, sure, plus 21. You may find, in this case, the horizontal method to be easier. Okay, work on the practice problems and raise your hand, ask me, and I'd happy to go over anything with you that we need.